Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon News Update for January 13th, 2025. First off, if you are enjoying this content on TikTok and you would still like to enjoy it if TikTok happens to go dark, you can find me on YouTube at Generally Unquotable. Let's go to the ex-Mormon subreddit for our first news story today. 5 months ago, somebody posted this. New pilot program for 1 hour church. My true believing mom said that some wards in Boise were trying out 1 hour church. A couple of thoughts. 1. Pilot programs are great when you don't have revelation from God. 2. 1 hour church will truly kill any community that might still be left. What do you think? Then 4 months ago, this was posted on the ex-Mormon subreddit. So lately I've been hearing a lot about some pilot programs being done in South Utah County, Idaho, and in Florida. Not sure why only these areas would be piloting it. With just 1 hour church where you show up for sacrament meeting and have announcements, an opening hymn, prayer, ward business, the sacrament hymn, the sacrament, and then a closing hymn, closing prayer, a 5-minute break, and then 30 minutes of class. Is anyone else hearing anything along these lines? It would make sense for the so-called church by helping to mask its shrinking membership by having more wards in one building, making it look like there's more attendance with consolidation. They could also help recoup their losses recently, where Nvidia, the company they hold the most shares in their stock investment portfolio, lost over $500 billion due to fraud and SEC investigations ongoing, since they would have taken a big bath with all the shares they hold due to its stock tanking, and so if they were to go to 1 hour church, they could get a lot more wards in one building and sell off other buildings that are hardly being used or not used at all for the money. It would also be a strategic way to eliminate anybody from getting up to the pulpit in sacrament meeting and sharing information that they would rather not have disclosed to the general membership, such as the essays, the CES letter, etc., and also eliminate fast and testimony meeting where anybody can get up there and say anything as well. I'm sure Kurt and McConkie, the church's lawyers, have been thinking about this for a while, since one of their jobs is to be a think tank and see down the road to eliminate any possible threats of potential litigation for fraud and other things. They could also sell it to the members as continuing revelation and proof of Nelson's prophetic mantle of home-based learning with an extra hour at home learning his gospel. So 1 hour church would be a win-win for this multi-hundred-billion-dollar real estate hedge fund corporation masquerading as religion. Thoughts? Also 4 months ago, this was posted. Eating at a restaurant this morning, I overheard a college-age kid telling her parents that her roommate's parents in Florida are in a pilot program for 1 hour church. WTF. And then another post from 4 months ago. I've recently heard more rumors about 1 hour church pilot programs, this time from Faithful Family. I'm unsure if it's second or third hand, and as the ex-Mo family member, I didn't want to go prying. They said it's a short sacrament meeting with no talks, then Sunday school and primary to fill the rest of the hour. We've had 2 other posts here about it. Is anyone else hearing this? I'm not sure what to think. The rumors seem credible, but it's also very surprising that they would consider cutting it down even more. And then 2 months ago, this post appeared. Total hearsay but fun to speculate. A friend has a relative working in church headquarters. The word is that 1 hour church is coming. A brief meeting to take the sacrament and then split out into the smaller group classes. I have a hard time envisioning it, but I also didn't believe sleeveless garments were possible. Trying to get those attendance numbers back up? Trying to find a way to eliminate testimony meeting? As for me and my house, we will continue worshiping at the Church of the Blue Dome. Then 1 month ago, this post. I'm new to deconstruction and most of my friends have no idea that I don't believe. I was visiting this group of friends and one of them confirmed another rumor about 1 hour church, said their family member was participating in one of the focus groups. A lot of them were very excited about the news and one of them said it makes sense. The church is starting to go even more family focused. First it was come follow me so you could teach at home and now 1 hour church! ! I tried my best to not roll my eyes and just kept my mouth shut. I did, however, manage to get in a joke that I stole from you heathens. Once the conversation died down, I asked them, you know what's better than 1 hour church? 0 hour church. I did get a few dry chuckles. Shout out to you all for the joke. Moving on, 3 days ago, this post was made. 1 hour church pilot program confirmed. I was chatting with a sort of true believing Mormon friend of mine today that lives Morador adjacent, and their friend is in the pilot program. They just mentioned while lamenting the slow decline of 90s Mormonism. Wards are being subdivided into smaller units that are then holding 1 hour of meetings. That's all I know. And then yesterday, this post. News of 1 Hour Church now on East Coast. Just heard that our stake president has brought up the 1 hour with the bishops. Have you heard that 1 Hour Church is on its way? If so, feel free to leave any of that information in the comments below. Amidst all of this talk of 1 Hour Church, what are top leaders doing? Let's go to the church newsroom where it says, when trials come, stay in the boat. President Holland says in new church news video, when challenges and trials come in life, that's not the time to leave, says President Jeffrey R. Holland, acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Do not abandon the ship when the waves are a little high, he said in a church news video titled, Stay in the Boat. That's the time to get the life jacket on and hold on. He pointed to the Savior Jesus Christ and how he continued through with his atoning sacrifice. I am grateful that for my sake and yours and everybody we know and our children and our children's children, that he was able to see that through. Well, we are supposed to see through a little difficult weather, President Holland said. While I do agree with Elder Holland in some respects, and I think it's really good to push through sometimes when things are difficult. If you are part of an organization that you have just found out has been lying to you your whole life, it's okay to leave. You don't have to stay in that kind of boat. If the boat is going to send you flailing down a hill and you're going to get incredibly injured and possibly die, probably it would be okay and in your best interest to get out of that kind of boat. And now we will go to the NZ Herald for the following article. Church youth group volunteer Mele Hala wanted the perfect wedding, and in Tongan culture that meant she had to go lavish. $8,000 dress, $15,000 cake, $40,000 for catering, and other similarly expensive flourishes. That was the sort of pressure hanging over the former Briscoe's employee's head 2 years ago when she lost her way, she told authorities recently, after pleading guilty to an elaborate 9-month swindle that resulted in the popular retail chain losing tens of thousands of dollars due to fake refund invoices. I was desperate, greedy, and fearful of losing the relationship, the 26-year-old Mount Roskill resident explained to a probation officer ahead of her sentencing this week in court. I got so greedy, I didn't stop. Now she's on a job seeker benefit, having been fired from Briscoe's and forced to leave her subsequent job after she revealed the obtaining by deception charge. But she's not in jail. Hala was employed at Briscoe's Westgate in a role that involved handling purchase and refund transactions when she started exploiting the position for personal gain in August of 2022, according to court documents. On 26 separate occasions between then and May the following year, she created fraudulent refund transactions, making up names and emails of pretend refund customers, then funneling a total of $61,164 into her own bank account. When averaged out, that equated to the pilfering of almost $7,000 per month before she was caught, the judge noted. Hala admitted the scheme to her employer and lost her job after the company completed an internal investigation, court documents state, but she declined to make a formal police statement. She was charged a year later with obtaining by deception. That charge, along with theft by a person in a special relationship, are among the most common charges for those accused of stealing from their employers. Both carry punishments of up to 7 years imprisonment. Hala explained to authorities that she had gotten engaged on New Year's Day 2022, but her partner then lost his job, putting significant financial pressure on both. You believed your impending marriage would be in jeopardy due to financial difficulties, the judge noted, ticking off the list of expected expenses Hala had estimated for her wedding, a total well over the amount she managed to steal. You say you watched other staff members stealing at your job, and this is where you got your idea from, the judge noted. But it should also be noted, the judge said, that Hala and her fiancé split in April of 2023. The offending didn't stop until she was caught in May of 2023. The financial pressures on you for your wedding are really no different from others, the judge said. How you chose to deal with it is simply inappropriate. The judge set a starting point of 2.5 years before allowing 55% in reductions for Hala's early guilty plea, remorse, personal circumstances, her self-driven effort at rehabilitation that included taking a personal finance course, her volunteer work with the Mormon Church, and most importantly, the judge said, her willingness to pay the money back. Now let's go to churchofjesuschrist.org. 2025 Utah Area Parent, Youth, and Leadership Instruction. We invite you to gather in wards with youth, parents, and all young men, young women leaders, including bishoprics at 6 p.m. on January 12th, 2025, to participate in an important broadcast with Utah Area President Elder Kevin W. Pearson, Young Women General President Emily Bell Freeman, and Young Men General President Stephen J. Lund. Now, that special meeting took place last night, and I found some commentary on it from the ex-Mormon subreddit that I'm now going to share. The church shot itself in the foot last night with that youth adult training meeting. I'm seeing a lot of rumblings from true believing Mormons who are saying that it was rambling and boring, went way over what people thought it was going to be, and completely turned off the youth. Some congregations just let kids go. There was some sarcastic cheering at one church, at least when it finally ended. This is from one true believing Mormon who I don't remember criticizing the church before. If this is what he's saying, it must have been pretty bad. Having been at the event since early morning, I was exhausted. The information overload was overwhelming with countless ideas being thrown around. The event was far too lengthy. The content should have been divided into sections for easier viewing. The presence of parents wasn't necessary. The youth attendance should have been reconsidered. Seeing stuff like this from the true believing Mormons gives me a bit of a chuckle. Way to go, church. You just gave an object lesson to thousands of youth of what their lives will be like if they stay in the church. Dull and boring meetings until the end of their days. And let's finish today with this great piece of advice. Beneath every behavior, there is a feeling, and beneath each feeling is a need. And when we meet that need, rather than focus on the behavior, we begin to deal with the cause, not the symptom. And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.